I found the keys to Dad's beach house in my coat pocket as I ran through the hospital doors. 24 years of Sunday dinners, of him teaching me to drive, of him walking me through every heartbreak. 24 years of being his daughter in every way that mattered. The nurse's face told me everything before her mouth opened. Room 304, third floor. Hurry. My legs burned as I took the stairs 2 at a time. The elevator would have been faster, but I couldn't stand still. Couldn't breathe in that small metal box knowing he was dying 3 floors above me. The door to his room was already open. I burst through, and there he was, my dad, Robert Martinez, the man who chose me when my own father couldn't be bothered. Tubes everywhere. Machines beeping. His chest rising and falling in shallow, painful movements. Dad. The word came out broken. I'm here. I'm right here. His eyes found mine. For a second, just a flash, I saw recognition. Relief. Then his gaze shifted past my shoulder, and something changed in his face. Something I'd never seen before. I turned. Kyle and Jennifer stood in the doorway. His biological kids. The ones who couldn't be bothered to visit for Christmas. Who didn't call on his birthday. Who lived 40 minutes away and acted like it was another country. Now they were here. Now, at the end. Dad. Kyle's voice was thick with fake emotion. We came as soon as we heard. I wanted to scream at them. Where were you during his heart surgery 2 years ago? Where were you every Sunday when I drove an hour each way just to make sure he wasn't eating frozen dinners alone? But Dad was trying to speak. I leaned in close, my ear almost touching his lips. Sarah. His voice was barely a whisper. Each word seemed to cost him everything he had left. I'm here. I love you. I'm right here. His fingers twitched toward mine. I grabbed his hand, squeezed it, tried to pour 24 years of love into that touch. Then he said it. 4 words that shattered my entire world. You were never really mine. The room tilted. My hand went slack in his. Behind me, I heard Jennifer make a small sound. Not a gasp of shock. Something else. Something satisfied. Dad? What? But his eyes had already closed. The machines screamed. Nurses rushed in. Someone pulled me back. Kyle and Jennifer stepped forward, their faces twisted into masks of grief that looked rehearsed, practiced. The nurses looked at them with sympathy, looked at me like I was intruding on a private family moment. I stood there in the corner while they worked on him. Stood there while he died. Stood there while Kyle put his arm around Jennifer and they both sobbed into each other's shoulders. Real tears. I'll give them that. Maybe they did love him, in their own broken way. Or maybe they just loved what he was about to leave behind. I know what you're thinking. Why would he say that? After everything, after 2 decades of being my father when my real one walked away. Why those words? Trust me, I asked myself that 1,000 times in the days that followed. But at that moment, watching the nurses pull the sheet over his face, I couldn't think at all. Kyle approached me. His eyes were red, but there was something calculating behind the tears. I'm sorry you had to hear that, Sarah. But maybe it's for the best. That you know the truth now. The truth? My voice sounded hollow, foreign. That you were never actually family. Jennifer dabbed at her eyes with a tissue that wasn't even damp. Just because Mom married him doesn't mean... He raised me. The words came out sharp, hard. Your mother left when I was 12. He stayed. He chose to stay. Out of obligation. Kyle's hand landed on my shoulder. I shrugged it off. Look, we're not trying to be cruel, but Dad's gone now, and there are things that need to be handled. Family things. Family things. Like I wasn't family. Like 24 years could be erased with 4 words whispered on a deathbed. I left before I said something I'd regret. Before I did something I'd regret. My hands shook so badly I could barely get my key in the ignition. That was Tuesday. By Wednesday morning, everything got worse. The hospital called, not to offer condolences, to inform me that Kyle and Jennifer had filed a restraining order against me, claiming I'd been manipulating their father, claiming elder abuse. I laughed when the woman on the phone said it. Actually laughed. Then I started crying and couldn't stop. The funeral was Friday. I wasn't allowed within 500 feet. I sat in my car 3 blocks away and watched people file into the church. Watched Kyle and Jennifer accept condolences like they'd been devoted children. Watched my dad's friends, people who knew me, who'd watched me grow up, walk past without even looking for me. Because Kyle and Jennifer had already talked to them, already told them their version. Poor Robert, manipulated by his stepdaughter. They'd tried so hard to reconnect with him. But Sarah kept them away, isolated him, controlled him, and everyone believed it. Saturday, I went to his house. Our house, really. I still had a key. I'd been checking on it twice a week, making sure the pipes didn't freeze, that the lawn got mowed, that it still felt like home for when he got better. Except, he didn't get better. The locks had been changed. I stood on the porch where he'd taught me to ride a bike, where we'd watched 4th of July fireworks, where he'd told me that blood didn't make family, love did. And I couldn't get in. A neighbor I'd known for 15 years walked by, wouldn't meet my eyes. That's when I really understood. They weren't just taking his money or his property. They were taking everything. My history, my home, my father's love. They were erasing me. I went back to my apartment and opened my laptop. Maybe I was paranoid. Maybe grief was making me see conspiracies where there were none. But something felt wrong. More wrong than just siblings fighting over an inheritance. I logged into the phone account I'd set up for Dad 2 years ago when his eyesight got bad. We'd shared a family plan, easier for me to manage his bills, to make sure everything stayed current. The text messages loaded slowly. My stomach twisted as I scrolled through. 3 months of conversations between Kyle and Jennifer. Messages to and from a number I didn't recognize. As I read, my blood turned to ice. PI confirmed. No power of attorney documented. Need to move faster. She's got too much access. Building timeline of coercion. Bank records show irregular transfers. Lawyer says we need proof of manipulation. Working on witness statements. They'd hired a private investigator. Had been planning this for months. Building a legal case against me while I sat in hospital waiting rooms. While I reorganized my entire work schedule around his appointments, while I held his hand and pretended everything would be okay. My phone buzzed. Email notification. Bank alert. Account number 4782 has been frozen by court order. Dad's checking account. The one I'd been using to pay his medical bills, to keep his house running. I refreshed my email. 3 more alerts. All his accounts. Frozen. Attached to the last email was a court document, filed 6 days before his death, before he was even unconscious. An emergency petition to have Robert Martinez declared mentally incompetent. They'd tried to take control of everything while he was still alive. The petition had been denied. The doctor had refused to sign off, had documented that Dad was completely lucid. But they'd tried. And now they were using the same lies. The same fake evidence, just repositioning it for after his death. My phone rang. Unknown number. Ms. Martinez, this is Robert Chen from Chen & Associates. I was your father's attorney. I need you to come to my office tomorrow at 10 a.m. for the reading of the will. I don't know if I can... The restraining order? The order doesn't apply to legal proceedings. You have every right to be present. However, I should inform you that Kyle and Jennifer's legal team has filed an injunction to contest the will. This could get complicated. Complicated. My father was dead. His children were trying to paint me as an abuser. I might lose the only home I'd ever really known. Yeah. Complicated was one word for it. I'll be there. I ended the call and stared at the court document still open on my screen. Emergency incompetency filing. Backdated to make it look like they'd been concerned about his mental state for months. Except I had 24 years of evidence that said otherwise. Birthday cards, Christmas presents, emails, photos. 24 years of being his daughter. 4 words that said I never was. I didn't sleep that night. Just sat on my couch with his old fishing hat, the one he'd left at my apartment after our last lake trip, and tried to make sense of it. Tried to understand how the man who taught me to drive stick shift, who walked me down the aisle at my college graduation, who told me every single week that he was proud of me, how that man could look at me in his final moments and say I was never his. Maybe he'd been confused, drugged. Maybe the cancer had spread to his brain and scrambled his memories. Or maybe Kyle and Jennifer had gotten to him first, filled his head with their poison before I arrived. The sun came up. I showered, put on the black dress I'd worn to his sister's funeral 3 years ago, and drove to the lawyer's office. They were already there when I arrived. Kyle in an expensive suit I knew he couldn't afford. Jennifer with a legal pad and a team of 3 attorneys. I had me. Just me. Kyle didn't even look at me. Jennifer gave me a smile that didn't reach her eyes. Sarah, I'm glad you came. We were worried you might not show up. Grief can be so disorienting. Her voice was sweet. Concerned. Like we were friends. Like she hadn't just tried to destroy my life. What would you have done? Tell me, because I still don't know if I made the right choice. The lawyer's office smelled like old books and furniture polish. Robert Chen was younger than I expected, maybe 50, with kind eyes that kept darting between me and the wall of attorneys Kyle and Jennifer had brought. Let's begin. He opened a folder, then paused. I want to state for the record that I advised Mr. Martinez multiple times to have all parties present for preliminary discussions. He refused. He was very specific about the conditions of this reading. Kyle's lead attorney, a woman with steel gray hair and a suit that probably cost more than my car, leaned forward. We've filed a motion to contest this will on the grounds of undue influence. Our client has substantial evidence that Ms. Martinez manipulated Mr. Martinez during a period of declining mental capacity. Your client's petition to declare him incompetent was denied by both his physician and the court. Chen's voice stayed level, professional, but I caught the edge underneath. That was before we had complete evidence. We're prepared to demonstrate a pattern of, can we just read the damn will? I didn't mean to say it out loud. Didn't mean to sound so broken. Everyone looked at me. Jennifer's eyes got wider. More wounded. I'm sorry. She touched Kyle's arm. This must be so hard for her. Sarah, honey, we know you cared about Dad. We just want to make sure everything was done properly, that he wasn't confused or pressured when he made these decisions. Honey. She called me honey. The same woman who'd gone 6 years without calling him, who'd blocked his number after he asked her to visit for Thanksgiving. Chen cleared his throat. The will is straightforward. Mr. Martinez's assets total approximately $18 million, primarily from the 3 beach properties he purchased and developed over the last 20 years. There are additional accounts, personal property, and his residence. $18 million. I'd known Dad did well with his real estate investments, but I'd never asked for details, never needed to know. He was my father, not my retirement plan. The bulk of the estate, Chen began, goes to his biological children. Kyle sat back in his chair. Confident. Obviously. Actually, no. The room went silent. Mr. Martinez left his entire estate to Sarah Martinez, with the exception of $5,000 each to Kyle and Jennifer Martinez, to be distributed only after they complete a 10-hour course in elder care and family responsibility. I stopped breathing. Jennifer's mouth opened, closed, opened again. That's not possible. I have the will right here, signed and witnessed by two independent parties, neither of whom have any connection to Ms. Sarah Martinez. It was executed 4 years ago and updated 6 months ago to add the educational requirement clause. He was clearly not in his right mind. Kyle's attorney started shuffling papers. I have documentation that your clients attempted to have Mr. Martinez declared incompetent 3 months ago. That petition was denied. I have letters from his physicians stating he was fully competent until the day he died. Sarah isolated him. Jennifer's voice cracked. Real tears now. Or real-looking ones. She kept him away from us. Poisoned him against his own children. Did I? The words came out quiet, deadly. I kept him away from you? Don't. Kyle pointed at me. Don't you dare try to rewrite history. We tried to visit. You blocked us. I have his phone records. I managed his account. You called him 4 times in 3 years. 4 times. You blocked his number after he invited you to Christmas. Because you were always there, always hovering. He couldn't have a relationship with us because you were in the way. I was there because he had a heart attack and someone needed to drive him to cardiac rehab 3 times a week. I was there because he was alone. You were 40 minutes away, Kyle. 40 minutes. And you came twice. Twice in 10 years. That's a lie. But his voice wavered. Just slightly. I have the visitor logs from his hospital stays. Should I get those? Would you like to see how many times I signed in versus how many times your names appear? Jennifer stood up. We don't have to listen to this. She's the one on trial here, not us. We're the victims. Victims. The laugh that came out of me was harsh. Ugly. You're victims. Ms. Martinez. Chen's voice cut through. Perhaps we should take a break. No. I looked at Kyle, at Jennifer, at their wall of lawyers. You filed a restraining order claiming I abused him. You froze his accounts. You tried to have him declared incompetent so you could steal everything while he was still alive. And now you're sitting here, in your expensive suits with your expensive lawyers, claiming you're the victims. We're protecting our father's legacy from a gold digger. Jennifer's mask slipped, just for a second. I saw the real her underneath. The one who saw dollar signs instead of a father. He wasn't your father. Kyle stood too. He was our father. You were just the baggage that came with the marriage. And now you've stolen everything that should have been ours. There it was. The truth. Finally. This meeting is over. Kyle's attorney stood. We're filing an emergency motion to freeze all assets pending investigation. We have evidence of financial exploitation, of Ms. Martinez using her position as caregiver to manipulate a vulnerable man. We have witnesses who will testify that she controlled his medication, his visitors, his every decision. What witnesses? But even as I asked, I knew. They'd bought some. Or invented some. The same way they'd tried to backdate the incompetency filing. We'll see you in court, Ms. Martinez. Jennifer grabbed her purse. And trust me, when we're done, you'll wish you'd taken the $5,000 and walked away. They left. All of them. A parade of expensive shoes on expensive carpet, leaving me alone with Chen and the ruins of my father's final wishes. They're going to win. I heard myself say it. Aren't they? They have money for lawyers and fake witnesses and whatever it takes. And I have what? The truth. That's not enough. Chen was quiet for a long time. Then he pulled out another folder. One he hadn't opened yet. Your father came to see me 6 months ago. He told me Kyle and Jennifer had tried to visit him. First time in years. They brought a lawyer with them. Started asking about his estate planning, his assets, whether he'd considered long-term care facilities. He knew what they were doing. Then why? My voice broke. Why did he say those things? At the end? I don't know. But I do know your father was a smart man, a careful man, and he left instructions that certain documents should only be released if his will was contested. He slid the folder across the desk. Take this home. Read it, and then call me on Monday. We're not done fighting yet. I left his office with the folder clutched to my chest. Didn't open it until I was home. Door locked, curtains drawn. Inside were copies of text messages between Kyle and Jennifer. Planning, strategizing, how to get me out of the picture, how to convince Dad I was manipulating him, how to document a pattern of elder abuse that didn't exist. Once he's gone, we file immediately. Criminal charges if we can. She'll be too distracted with legal trouble to fight the will. PI costs $5,000 but worth it. Need documented timeline of suspicious behavior. Dad's getting sicker. Need to move soon. Sarah's got too much control. And underneath all of that, a journal. Dad's handwriting. Shaky but readable. September 15th. Kyle called today. First time in 8 months. Asked about my estate plan. Pretended to care about my health, but I could hear it in his voice. He's counting my money before I'm even dead. October 3rd. Jennifer sent flowers for my birthday, a month late. Card said, "Sorry we can't visit, so busy with work." She's a part-time yoga instructor. Sarah took the whole day off to take me to that restaurant I love. November 12th. They hired a private investigator. I found out by accident. Tom saw them meeting with someone at the country club. They don't know I know. I'm not telling Sarah. Not yet. I want to see how far they'll go. December 20th. They tried to visit today. Brought a lawyer. Started talking about protecting me from financial exploitation. Suggested Sarah might be taking advantage. I told them to leave. Sarah has never asked me for a dime. She pays for half the groceries when she visits. She fixed my porch railing with her own money because she didn't want me falling. January 8th. They filed something, court papers, trying to say I'm losing my mind. Dr. Patterson refused to sign. Told them I'm sharper than people half my age, but they're not stopping. They're getting desperate. January 30th. I'm getting worse. The cancer's spreading. Maybe 2 months left. I need to make sure Sarah is protected. Need to make sure she knows, even if I can't say it out loud at the end, that she was everything to me. More than blood, more than biology. She chose to love me. Every day she chose it. Kyle and Jennifer never chose anything. They just expected my money, expected my love, expected everything without ever giving anything back. February 14th. Updated my will. Sarah gets everything. Not to hurt Kyle and Jennifer. They did that to themselves. But because Sarah earned it. 24 years of earning it. Of being my daughter when she didn't have to be. If they contest it, Chen knows what to do. He has everything. All their messages. All my notes. The truth. I just hope it's enough. The last entry was dated 5 days before he died. I love her. Sarah. My daughter. My real daughter. If I could do it all over again, I wouldn't change a thing. Except maybe I would have told Kyle and Jennifer to get lost years ago. Would have saved us all a lot of trouble. But I'm a sentimental old fool. Kept hoping they'd come around. Realize what family really means. They never did. Sarah, if you're reading this, and Chen better damn well give this to you if they try anything. I'm sorry for whatever I said at the end. The drugs make me confused sometimes. Make me say things I don't mean. You were always mine. From the moment you called me Dad for the first time. 7 years old, missing a front tooth, asking if it was okay to call me that since your real dad didn't want to be called anything. I cried that night. Did you know that? I went to bed and cried because this little girl chose me. And I've been crying happy tears ever since. Don't let them take that from you. Don't let them win. I read it 3 times. Then I called the number on Chen's card. He knew, I said when he answered. He knew everything. Yes. So why did he, at the end, why did he say? I don't know, Sarah. Maybe the morphine. Maybe he was confused. Or maybe what? Maybe he was testing them. One last time. Wanted to see if they'd show their true colors when they thought you were out of the picture. And they had. They'd shown exactly who they were. What do I do now? Now we fight back. But I didn't know if it would be enough. They had money, lawyers, a story people wanted to believe, poor biological children, kept away from their dying father by a manipulative stepdaughter. I had the truth, and a journal full of love letters disguised as diary entries. Monday came too fast. Social media was already exploding. Someone had leaked the story, probably Kyle or Jennifer's PR team. Stepdaughter inherits 18 memoirs. Biological children get nothing. The comments were brutal. Gold digger. Obviously manipulated a dying man. Those poor kids, kept away from their own father. I wanted to respond. Wanted to show them Dad's journal. Wanted to scream that I never asked for the money. Never wanted anything except him. But Chen had told me not to. Don't engage. Don't defend yourself. Not yet. Let them think they're winning. So I did what he said. I posted a simple message. I'm sorry for your loss. Robert Martinez was a good man who loved his children. I hope we can resolve this with dignity and respect for his memory. Vague. Apologetic. Like I was guilty. The comments got worse. At least she's admitting it. Too little too late. Lock her up. Kyle reposted it with, "Thank you, Sarah. It takes courage to acknowledge mistakes. We're praying for you." Praying for me. While they were trying to destroy me, I started going to grief counseling. Made sure people saw me there. Posted about it. About how hard it was. How much I missed Dad. How I understood Kyle and Jennifer's pain. I played the part they expected. Broken, remorseful, weak. And all the while, Chen was building our case, collecting evidence, deposing witnesses. But Kyle and Jennifer were doing the same thing. 2 weeks after the funeral, they gave an interview to a local news station. Sat on a couch together, holding hands, talking about their beloved father. "We just want justice for him," Jennifer said, wiping away tears. "We want people to know who he really was. Not the person Sarah made him into." "We're starting a foundation in his name," Kyle added, "to help elderly people who are being financially exploited, so this doesn't happen to other families." A foundation. Using Dad's name to paint themselves as heroes while painting me as a villain. The story went viral. National news picked it up. Suddenly, I wasn't just fighting Kyle and Jennifer. I was fighting public opinion, fighting social media, fighting people who didn't know me, didn't know Dad, but had already decided I was guilty. I lost clients. People I'd worked with for years suddenly didn't return calls. My consulting business dried up. I stopped going out, stopped checking social media. Just existed in my apartment with Dad's journal, and the growing realization that maybe the truth wasn't going to be enough. Then Child Protective Services showed up. "We received a report," the woman said at my door. "Allegations of financial crimes. We need to verify you're not a risk." I don't have children. The report claimed you might be caring for minors while under investigation for elder abuse. We have to check. They walked through my apartment. Saw I lived alone. Left 20 minutes later with apologies. But the message was clear. Kyle and Jennifer would use anything, everything. Would fabricate whatever they needed to make me go away. That night, I drafted a post. An apology. Full surrender. Offering to split the inheritance. Offering to walk away. I wrote it out. Read it 12 times. My finger hovered over post. Then I deleted it. Because Dad didn't raise me to be a quitter, didn't raise me to fold when things got hard. He taught me to stand up, to fight for what was right, to choose love and truth even when it was easier to walk away. So I chose to fight. The next morning, Tom called. Dad's friend from the car club, the one who'd been coming to Sunday dinners since before I was born. "I need to see you," he said. "I have something." We met at a coffee shop across town. He looked nervous, kept checking over his shoulder. "I should have come forward sooner," he said. But I was scared. "They're powerful, Sarah. They have money and connections and—" "Tom, what do you have?" He pulled out his phone. 6 months ago, I saw Kyle and Jennifer at Anthony's Steakhouse. Expensive place. I was there for a business dinner. They didn't see me, but I was close enough to hear them talking. Talking about your dad, about you, about their plan. My heart hammered. "Please tell me you—" I recorded it. He turned his phone toward me. I didn't know if it would matter. Didn't know if I should get involved. But then I saw the news. Saw what they're doing to you. And I couldn't stay quiet. I listened to the recording. Kyle's voice clear as day. "Once the old man's gone, we go after Sarah hard. Criminal charges if possible. We need her too scared and broke to fight the will." Jennifer's response. "The PI says we can build a timeline of financial manipulation. We just need to get Dad declared incompetent first." Kyle again. "Won't work if he's still lucid. But the cancer's spreading. We've got maybe 6 months. We wait until he's on the good drugs. Then we make our move." It was all there. The whole conspiracy. Proof that they'd been planning this long before Dad died. "Tom." I could barely speak. "This changes everything. I know. I'm testifying. I don't care what it costs me. Your dad was a good man. He'd want me to do the right thing." I called Chen immediately. Sent him the recording. For the first time in weeks, I felt something like hope. Maybe we could win this. Maybe the truth would actually matter. The hope lasted 3 days. Tom called me at 2 in the morning. "Sarah, someone broke into my house." "What? Are you okay?" "They took my laptop, my backup drive, every device I had. The recordings, all the copies, they're gone." My stomach dropped. "Tom." "I'm at the hospital. They didn't just take my stuff. They made sure I knew what happens if I testify." He was in the ICU. Broken ribs, concussion. Couldn't identify the attackers. By morning, he'd signed a statement retracting everything. Said he'd misunderstood the conversation. Said he wouldn't testify. I knew exactly who was behind it. So did Chen. But we couldn't prove it. The recording was gone. Our smoking gun. Vanished. "We still have the journal," Chen said. "We still have the text messages." "It's not enough. They're going to win. They're going to take everything, and there's nothing I can do to stop them." But Chen was quiet for too long. "What?" I asked. "What aren't you telling me?" "Your father left one more thing. Something he said should only be opened if they tried to hurt you. If they crossed a line he couldn't forgive." "What is it?" "A video, recorded 3 days before he died. I've watched it. Sarah, it changes everything." Hope bloomed in my chest. Dangerous, fragile hope. "When can we use it?" "The will reading is set for next week. Final reading, with the judge present because of the contest. That's when we play it. That's when we end this." I hung up and sat in my apartment alone. Outside, the world thought I was a monster, a manipulator, a thief who'd stolen a dying man's fortune. But inside, I knew the truth. And soon, everyone else would too. 1 week, one final confrontation, and then either justice or destruction. Should I tell you what happened? Let me know. The conference room was twice the size of Chen's office. Floor-to-ceiling windows, long mahogany table, And cameras. Actual cameras. Because Kyle and Jennifer had invited media to what they were calling the truth about Robert Martinez. They'd turned my father's will reading into a spectacle. I got there 15 minutes early. Chen was already setting up a laptop, a projector, things I didn't understand. He gave me a nod but didn't say anything. Didn't need to. We both knew this was it. Kyle and Jennifer arrived surrounded by their legal team. 5 attorneys now. They'd upgraded. Jennifer wore a black dress that probably cost more than my rent. Kyle had new glasses, designer frames. They were spending his money before they even had it. The judge, a woman in her 60s named Harriet Walsh, took her seat at the head of the table. This wasn't a courtroom, but it might as well have been. "We're here for the final reading and contest of Robert Martinez's will," she said. "I've reviewed the preliminary filings from both sides. This is highly irregular, but given the media attention and the serious allegations of undue influence, I've agreed to oversee these proceedings personally." Kyle's lead attorney stood up. "Your Honor, we appreciate your time. We have substantial evidence that—" "You'll have your turn, Ms. Brennan. Mr. Chen, let's begin with the will itself." Chen stood, calm, controlled. Nothing like the nervousness I felt twisting in my gut. "The will is simple. Robert Martinez left his entire estate, valued at approximately $18 million, to Sarah Martinez, his stepdaughter, whom he raised from the age of 8. To his biological children, Kyle and Jennifer Martinez, he left $5,000 each, conditional upon completing an elder care education program." "Which proves mental incompetence," Brennan interrupted. "No rational father disinherits his biological children in favor of a daughter who actually acted like a daughter." I didn't mean to say it out loud. The room went silent. Judge Walsh raised an eyebrow. "Ms. Martinez, you'll have a chance to speak. Everyone will keep their composure or I'll clear this room. Understood?" I nodded. Kyle smirked. "Your Honor, if I may." Brennan pulled out a thick folder. "We have documented evidence of systematic manipulation. Ms. Sarah Martinez isolated Mr. Martinez from his biological children for years. She controlled his finances, his medication, his access to family. She used her position as caregiver to influence a vulnerable, dying man." "That's a lie." But my voice came out weak, shaky. "Is it? Let's review the facts. Kyle and Jennifer Martinez attempted to visit their father multiple times over the past decade. Sarah Martinez was always present, always hovering, making them feel unwelcome. We have witnesses who will testify." "What witnesses?" Chen's voice cut through. "The ones you paid?" "Objection. That's slanderous." "Is it?" Chen opened his own folder. "Because I have bank records showing payments from Kyle Martinez to 3 individuals who later gave statements supporting your case. Payments made 2 weeks before their depositions." Kyle's face went red. "Those were loans, personal loans. To people you'd never met before? That's interesting." Judge Walsh held up her hand. "Let's stay focused. Ms. Brennan, what evidence do you have of actual manipulation? Not theories. Evidence." Brennan smiled. It wasn't a nice smile. "We have this." She pressed play on a laptop. A video filled the screen. Dad, sitting in his hospital bed. This was from the end. I could tell by how thin he was. How gray. In the video, someone off camera asked him questions. "Robert, do you understand what you're signing?" Dad's voice, weak. "Yes." "And you're leaving everything to Sarah?" "Yes." "Are you sure? What about Kyle and Jennifer?" A long pause. Then, They don't." The video cut off. As you can see, Mr. Martinez was barely coherent. Clearly medicated. Clearly confused about... "That's not the whole video." Chen stood up. "You edited that. Cut it off before he finished his sentence." We received this from the hospital. You made that. Or someone working for you did, because I have the actual hospital footage from that day. Would you like me to play it? Brennan's smile faltered, just slightly. Your Honor. Kyle stood up. His voice was thick with emotion. I don't care about the money. Neither does Jennifer. We just want justice for our father. We want people to know what happened. Sarah kept us away from him for years. Years. We tried to visit. We called. We sent cards. She poisoned him against us. You called 4 times in 3 years. The words came out before I could stop them. 4 times, Kyle. Because you were always there. Always in the way. I was there because someone had to be. You lived 40 minutes away, and you couldn't be bothered to visit during his heart surgery. During his chemotherapy. During any of it. That's not true! Jennifer was crying now. Real tears. Angry tears. We wanted to be there. You blocked us. You changed the locks. You told the nurses not to let us in. I never... But my voice cracked. Because part of me wondered. Had I made them feel unwelcome? Had I been so protective of Dad that I'd pushed them away? You're lying to yourself, Sarah. Kyle's voice was almost gentle. Pitying. You convinced yourself you were his real daughter. But you weren't. You never were. And at the end, he knew it. That's why he said those words. That's why he told you the truth. The room was spinning. My hands were shaking. Maybe they were right. Maybe I had manipulated him without meaning to. Maybe. Enough. Chen's voice cut through my spiral. Your Honor, I'd like to present evidence. Real evidence. Not edited videos and paid witnesses. He plugged a USB drive into the projector. The screen lit up. It was Dad. In his hospital bed. But this was different from the edited video Brennan had shown. This was clear. Recent. 3 days before he died. My name is Robert Martinez. His voice came through the speakers. Weak, but clear. Determined. I'm making this recording of sound mind and body, well, sound mind anyway. The body's pretty much shot. He smiled. That same crooked smile I'd known my whole life. I'm recording this because my biological children, Kyle and Jennifer, have spent the last 6 months trying to have me declared incompetent, trying to steal my assets before I'm even dead. And I want to make sure, if they try to contest my will, that everyone knows exactly what kind of people they are. Kyle stood up. This is fake. This has to be... Sit down, Mr. Martinez. Judge Walsh's voice was ice. Now. Dad continued. 3 months ago, they brought a lawyer to my house. Asked me about my estate planning. Suggested I might need protection from Sarah. Protection from the only person who's actually protected me for the last 24 years. On screen, Dad pulled out papers. The incompetency filing. The one that had been denied. They tried to have me declared mentally incompetent. Said I was losing my mind. My doctor refused. Because I'm not losing anything except my life to cancer. And that's not the same thing. He coughed. Took a sip of water. Continued. I know they're going to contest my will. I know they're going to claim Sarah manipulated me. So I want to make a few things very clear. He looked directly at the camera. Directly at us. Sarah Martinez is my daughter. Not biologically, but in every way that matters. She has been my daughter since she was 8 years old. Since her mother and I got married. Since she asked me, with that gap-toothed smile, if she could call me Dad. My vision blurred. Tears streaming down my face. Kyle and Jennifer are my biological children. And I love them. Or I loved who I thought they were. But they haven't been my children. Real children in years. They call when they need money. They visit when they want something. They've made it very clear that I'm an obligation. A future inheritance. Not a father. He held up his phone. I have records of every call. Every text. Every time Sarah drove an hour to have dinner with me. Every time she rearranged her work schedule to take me to appointments. Every time she sat with me in hospital waiting rooms while Kyle and Jennifer were too busy. The screen split. One side showed Dad's phone records. Years of them. The other side showed his calendar. Color-coded. Blue for Sarah's visits. Dozens of them. Hundreds over the years. Red for Kyle and Jennifer. Scattered, sparse. Mostly during holidays. Sarah never asked me for money. Not once in 24 years. Never asked for help with rent or car payments or anything. She helped me. Paid for repairs on my house out of her own pocket. Bought groceries. Made sure I wasn't alone. He coughed again. This one worse. The video shook as whoever was holding the camera adjusted. So here's what I want to say, for the record. For anyone who tries to paint Sarah as a manipulator or a gold digger or anything other than what she is. A daughter who chose to love me. He looked directly at the camera again. Directly at me. Sarah, if you're watching this, it means they tried to take everything from you. It means they probably said terrible things. Made you doubt yourself. Made you doubt us. His voice broke. Don't doubt. Not for a second. You were always my real daughter. Blood doesn't make family. Love does. Time does. Showing up does. And you showed up. Every single day. You chose to be my family. And I chose you right back. He wiped his eyes. As for those last words I said, if I said something that hurt you, I'm sorry. The morphine makes me confused sometimes. Makes me say things I don't mean. Or maybe I was testing Kyle and Jennifer one last time. Seeing if they'd show their true colors when they thought you were out of the picture. He smiled. Sad, but knowing. I'm betting they did. I'm betting they showed exactly who they are. The video continued. Dad pulled out his journal. The same one Chen had given me. This is 6 months of documentation. Every manipulation attempt. Every lie. Every time they tried to turn me against Sarah. I documented it all. Because I knew this day would come. I knew they'd try to take everything. He held up text messages on his phone. Screenshots. These are messages between Kyle and Jennifer. Planning how to get Sarah out of the picture. How to build a case against her. How to steal my money before I'm even dead. Each screenshot appeared on the projector. The planning. The scheming, the private investigator, all of it. I want the judge, the lawyers, everyone watching this to understand something. I am not confused. I am not manipulated. I am dying, yes, but my mind is clear, and my will is exactly what I want it to be. He leaned forward, intense despite his weakness. Sarah gets everything because she earned it, not by manipulation. By being there. By loving me when she didn't have to. By choosing family over biology. He sat back. Kyle and Jennifer get $5,000 each. Not to punish them, though maybe it will feel like punishment. But because that's all they've earned. All they've shown me they deserve. And the education requirement? That's one last hope that maybe they'll learn what family really means. He looked tired now. Worn out. To Kyle and Jennifer, if you're watching this, I'm sorry. I'm sorry I wasn't a better father to you. I'm sorry you grew up thinking love and money were the same thing. But I'm not sorry for my will. You made your choices. Now live with them. He looked at the camera one more time. Sarah, don't let them take this from you. Fight. Fight with everything you have, because you're worth fighting for. And this family, the one we chose, is worth fighting for. The video ended. The conference room was dead silent. Jennifer was crying. Not fake tears this time. Real, ugly crying. But not from sadness. From rage. That's not fair, she choked out. We're his children. His real children. We deserved... You deserved nothing. Judge Walsh's voice cut through. You came to his deathbed after years of absence. You filed legal actions against him while he was dying. You tried to steal his assets, his dignity, and his final wishes. She looked at Brennan. Do you have any evidence? Any actual evidence that this will was made under duress? Brennan's mouth opened, closed. We have testimony. Paid testimony. I heard that part. Do you have anything else? Silence. Judge Walsh turned to Chen. Do you have anything else to present? Just this, Your Honor. He pulled out a stack of papers. Hospital visitor logs from Mr. Martinez's 3 hospitalizations over the past 5 years. Sarah Martinez appears 143 times. Kyle and Jennifer Martinez appear twice. Both times in the last 6 months, both times accompanied by attorneys. He pulled out more papers. Phone records showing Sarah called Mr. Martinez an average of 6 times per week for 10 years. Kyle and Jennifer's calls averaged less than once per month, with gaps of 6 to 8 months between contacts. More papers. Emails, cards, letters spanning 24 years, all from Sarah, all kept by Mr. Martinez in a safety deposit box specifically for this purpose. He looked at Judge Walsh. Robert Martinez knew his biological children would contest his will. He spent 6 months preparing for it, documenting everything, making sure the truth would come out. Judge Walsh was quiet for a long time. She looked at the evidence, at the video screen, now black, at Kyle and Jennifer. I've seen a lot of estate contests in my career, she finally said. Most of them come down to gray areas, unclear intentions, ambiguous relationships. This is not one of those cases. She looked directly at Kyle and Jennifer. Mr. Martinez's will is crystal clear. His intentions are documented extensively. The allegations of undue influence are not only unsupported, they're contradicted by overwhelming evidence. This contest is dismissed. The will stands as written. No. Jennifer stood up. No, this isn't right. We're his children. We deserve... You deserved a father, I heard myself say. And you had one. A good one. But you chose money over him, chose inheritance over relationship, and now you're angry that the choice has consequences. Kyle's face was purple with rage. You stole our father from us. I didn't steal anything. I was just there. Every Sunday. Every holiday. Every scared moment in every hospital waiting room. I was there because I loved him. Not because of what he could give me. We loved him too. Jennifer's voice broke. Maybe you did. But love isn't just a feeling. It's action. It's showing up. It's choosing to be present even when it's inconvenient. Judge Walsh stood. The will is upheld. Additionally, I'm awarding legal fees to Ms. Sarah Martinez in the amount of $400,000 to be paid by the contesting parties. Kyle's face went white. 400, we can't. You brought this fight. You hired expensive attorneys. You dragged this out for months. You tried to destroy Ms. Martinez's reputation with false allegations. There are consequences. She gathered her papers. I'm also ordering an investigation into the assault on Thomas Brennan and the paid witness testimony. If evidence of criminal activity is found, I'll pursue charges. She looked at me. Her face softened just slightly. Ms. Martinez, I'm sorry for your loss. Your father was clearly a remarkable man. He loved you very much. I couldn't speak. Could only nod. The judge left. The media filed out. Chen started packing up his laptop. Kyle and Jennifer just sat there. Brennan was on her phone, probably already distancing herself from the disaster. You destroyed our family, Kyle said quietly. No. I looked at him, really looked at him. You did that yourself. Dad gave you 24 years to be his children. You chose not to. That's on you, not me. Jennifer stood up. Her makeup was ruined. Her expensive dress wrinkled. We'll appeal. We'll find another way. We're not done. but they were. The look on Brennan's face said it all. No attorney would touch this case now. Not after that video. Not after the judge's ruling. They left. Finally. Taking their lawyers and their fake grief with them. Chen put his hand on my shoulder. It's over. You won. But it didn't feel like winning. It felt like surviving. I went to Dad's house that night. My house now, legally. The locks had been changed back by the property manager. I let myself in. Everything was exactly how he'd left it. His coffee mug in the sink, his reading glasses on the side table, his fishing hat hanging by the door. I sat in his favorite chair and cried. Not from grief this time. From relief. From exhaustion. From the weight of finally having someone believe me. I did it, Dad, I said to the empty room. I fought, just like you asked. The house was quiet, but I swear I could feel him there. Proud, relieved, at peace. My phone buzzed. Text from Chen. By the way, there's more to the video. He left a final message just for you. I'll send the link. I opened the link. One more video. Dad's face filled my screen. Hey kiddo, if you're seeing this, it means you won. It means you fought and you didn't give up. I'm so proud of you. He smiled. That crooked smile. I have one more thing to ask. The beach properties, that's a lot of money. More than you need. I want you to use one of them for something good. Turn it into a place that helps people like me. Elderly folks who need care. Who need family when their real family isn't there. He coughed, collected himself. Do something that matters with it. That's all I ask. Make those houses mean something more than money. The video ended with him looking directly at the camera. At me. I love you, Sarah. My daughter. My real daughter. Always. I sat in his chair and watched the sunset through his window. Our window now. And I knew exactly what I was going to do. 6 months later, I stood in front of the Martinez Family Elder Care Center. Converted from one of Dad's beach properties. 15 beds, 24-hour care. Specialized in hosting seniors whose families weren't there for them. The sign above the door read, "Love is chosen, not born." Kyle and Jennifer were never charged criminally. The evidence was too circumstantial. Tom recovered but moved to Florida. Said he needed a fresh start. I married Tom's nephew, a detail I didn't mention before. Michael. He'd been at some of those Sunday dinners, had watched me care for Dad, had seen everything. When the dust settled and the legal battles ended, he asked me out. Said he'd been waiting for the right moment. Turned out grief and lawsuits weren't the right moment. But after, when I was finally healing, that was perfect. Kyle and Jennifer tried to appeal. Twice. Both dismissed. The legal fees bankrupted them. Last I heard, Jennifer was working retail. Kyle lost his house. I don't feel good about that. But I don't feel bad either. They made their choices. I kept Dad's journal by my bedside. Read it sometimes when I need reminding of what family really means. Of what love looks like when it's real. The lesson? Blood doesn't make family. Love does. Choice does. Showing up does. And sometimes the people who hurt you most end up teaching you the most important things by being exactly who you'll never become. To anyone going through something similar, document everything. Trust your gut. Don't let anyone make you doubt the love you know was real. And fight. Fight for what matters. Fight for the truth. Fight for the family you choose. Because in the end, that's all we have. The people we choose to love, and the people who choose to love us back. Dad chose me, and I chose him. Every single day for 24 years. That's family. That's what matters. Everything else is just noise.